Everyone to 12 News at 4. I'm Tram Mai. We are live here at Chandler Gilbert Community College. And the reason why we are here in the East Valley is because we are holding a town hall that's happening in less than 2 hours at 6 o'clock. That is going until 7 o'clock. And the reason why we're here is because we are addressing the issue of teen violence that has erupted in the news lately in the East Valley. But realistically, we know that teen violence can really happen anywhere at any time. So that is part of the focus of this town hall. Not only do we want to address that issue, but we also want to address solutions from parents, the community, as well as leaders. So we're here on the stage at the Performing Arts Center, and we're going to have about over 200 people in the audience who RSVP'd. Doors will open at 5 o'clock, but among the esteemed guests and panelists, we will have Katie McPherson. You've seen her in the news a lot. She is a big community advocate. She has worked a lot with the youth. She's been the voice of a lot of these vigils, a lot of these marches, a lot of this movement. Also, we will have Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb. He will join us, and in his particular jurisdiction, there have been 2 arrests addressing this teen violence. But this all erupted after a Halloween party that happened last October. The death of 16-year-old Preston Lord, who was beaten to death. So how did we get here? Here's 12 News journalist Bianca Bono to explain.
We don't just want an arrest, we want a conviction.
The assault that happened to Preston could have happened to anyone's child that night.
I can't imagine how that must feel for them.
It's very disturbing.
Justice belongs to that family.
I guess I'm just angry because it feels so preventable.
In October, tragedy struck the valley.
Our child will never be coming home, and we need to prevent this from ever happening again.
16-year-old Preston Lord, a J.O. Combs High School star student on the basketball and golf teams and student council, was brutally beat outside of a Halloween party in Queen Creek. His friends rushing to his aid to perform CPR until an ambulance arrived. He died from his injuries 2 days later.
I hurt for them. I hurt for them every day.
I want the community to know, especially, that we're working diligently to bring justice to the victim.
The senseless death galvanizing the heartbroken East Valley community. In their grief, creating a movement. Justice for Preston Lord, and justice for all of the other teen victims who were lucky enough to survive their assaults.
We've all been traumatized enough and are keeping our children close.
Parents, fearful their own child could be next, showed up to council meetings demanding answers, accountability, and justice.
There's a lot of issues around what happened.
We just can't not do anything.
We're all in this together. The schools can't do it all, the parents can't do it all, the police can't do it all. We all have to collectively come together.
And joining us now for the backstory is 12 News journalist Bianca Bono. Bianca, you have covered this case from the very beginning. Tell us why this particular case and this movement is so different from any that we have seen in the past.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cover tragedies all of the time, but rarely do we see this kind of community response. And the way the East Valley has really galvanized in their grief is very unique. If you've driven across the East Valley in the past couple of months, you've likely seen orange ribbons, people wearing orange, people putting candles in their front yard. All of that is part of the movement Justice for Preston Lord. So parents are grieving the loss of a 16-year-old who was so senselessly killed, but not only are they grieving, they're saying enough is enough, and they're demanding answers and they're demanding change so it never happens again.
Now, there have been a number of arrests in other cities like Gilbert, in Mesa, in Chandler, even in Pinal County. But ironically, there have been no arrests in Preston Lord's case, which is the reason why this whole thing sparked.
Yeah, and I think that's the source of a lot of frustration, is seeing how different law enforcement agencies with different cases are handling them differently. To catch our viewers up to speed, in terms of the Preston Lord case, back in December, Queen Creek police submitted charges against 7 people, both juveniles and adults, for the death of Preston Lord. Right now, the county attorney's office, some very experienced homicide prosecutors, are reviewing the information. We know there's about a 2,000-page police report they're looking through, 2,000 pieces of evidence, around 600 videos. So it's a lot to work through. But right now, the East Valley is waiting on the county attorney's office for the next step in the Lord case. However, as you mentioned, the public pressure around what happened to Preston Lord prompted other agencies like Gilbert Police, for example, to reopen cases they had previously shelved without justice being brought. And, since the beginning of the month, Gilbert Police have made arrests, Mesa Police, and Pinal County as well. We know Sheriff Mark Lamb, of course, will be here tonight. I'm sure he will talk about that, but different agencies handling this very differently.
And Sheriff Lamb really has been very outspoken, as he usually is, about this as soon as they made their 2 arrests in their county. Gilbert Police, you were at a press conference on Thursday. The police chief spoke for the very first time, and that's really part of this mounting frustration from a lot of the parents. This has been a waiting game. They want arrests, they want answers. He finally spoke, the police chief of Gilbert. But what about the others?
Right, yeah, and I want to go back to Gilbert for a second. That was the source of a lot of frustration for folks, and parents have been very understanding of the process. They realize that these are open cases, and they don't just want arrest, they want a conviction too. So they understand the police departments can't just say everything, but they want transparency. They want to know that these cases are being prioritized, because we've talked about it. Parents have been keeping their kids inside. They're scared to let their kids go out due to a lack of arrest, fearful their own child could be next.
And there have been basketball games even canceled because of that. Yeah,
it's impacted so much of the lives of teenagers in the East Valley as well. So yeah, we've seen different levels of transparency, and the community really is demanding more from those leaders in law enforcement.
All right, Bianca, thank you so much. Speaking of the community, again, a lot of members of the community as well as leaders, they are going to be gathered here tonight when doors open at 5 o'clock. I want to bring in Mark and Caribe. You are both moderating this town hall tonight that will start in less than 2 hours. What can viewers expect?
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Tram, you and Bianca talked about the public outcry, and that's what motivated us to do this tonight. We wanted to give the community an open-ended, unedited space where they can share their concerns, their comments, their fears, and hear directly from some of the people who have know about the root causes behind it and can help with some solutions to that. So as you mentioned, we have a very diverse panel here tonight. And so, yes, we'll have the community going back and forth with them. And of course, we'll be moderating it all.
And Tram, as a mom, you know this, and we're both parents. When a child dies, it is absolutely the worst story that we can cover at 12 News. But when it's another child killing another child, when it's teen-on-teen violence, that adds another layer to how heartbreaking this story is. And it also raises a red flag that there's a problem in our community. There's a problem that needs to be solved and is going unnoticed, and it's not being taken care of in an expeditious way. And then when you take that violence and you film it and you put it on social media for all to see, that takes it to a whole new level. So this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable for us as journalists. It's unacceptable for us as citizens of Arizona. And so hopefully tonight we can come up by addressing the issues, talking openly about it, hearing from experts. We may not solve it, and we probably won't. But hopefully we can at least come up with some ideas that we can take action on.
Yeah, and start the conversation.
Right, and it's not just law enforcement. I mean, this takes everyone. It takes educators, it takes parents. It cannot be just a law enforcement problem. Everybody has to get involved, and so hopefully tonight we'll hear about the root causes. We've talked a lot about the post-pandemic effects on kids' mental health. It's driving a lot of this, right? And so that will be one of the things that we talk about in terms of root causes. Who is at risk? What are the warning signs? How do parents get involved? What should school administrators be doing, right? Changes that can happen within cities that can help prevent this, more school programs. So there's a variety of things that we'll be exploring tonight. And like Mark said, we probably won't solve the issue altogether, but I think at least opening the conversation, making everyone aware of the fact that it takes everybody.
It takes a village.
It does, it does. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of fear out there. There is, and the fear is in different ways all over the community. You obviously have the fear from these teens of being gone after by the gangs if they say, well, I know who did it.
Right.
I'm going to identify that teen in that video because I know that teen.
And that's actually what happened in one of the cases. That retaliation ended up sending that particular child, that victim, overseas.
And I understand that fear, not only by that teen, but by his father, who, by the way, will be with us tonight.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Then you have the fear of parents to send their kids into harm's way. It's our job as parents to protect our kids.
Right. Yeah.
And finally, you have the third component, is the fear of parents, if their kid is involved, of ruining their life by stepping forward and doing the right thing.
Yeah, so we hope that folks at home will join us into the conversation. We're going to be on the air from 6 to 7, and then at 7 we'll go online to continue the discussion. So, of course, you know, we'll be taking comments from the audience, people who are typing in online, sending us messages. We just want everyone to be a part of this.
Yeah, there's so many levels of discussion on this. So we look forward to that. Again, that's coming up in less than 2 hours. I know you have a lot more to prepare for, as well as greet our guests who are coming in within the next hour. So I'm going to let you be.
Okay.
And right now, we're actually going to toss it back into the studio with Rachel and Jonathan. Take it away, guys.
All right, Tram, Caribe, Mark, thank you guys so much.